Hello and welcome to the Hubba's House podcast program, part 2 of my interview with Scott Munsterman. I am technologically inept, and so I like to keep these videos at or under 10 minutes, which explains why we did part 2, because this one may, although I hope it doesn't, go a little long. I would like to cover the subject of healthcare. Of course, we could probably spend several sunrises and sunsets discussing the topic, but let's just have kind of a primer on the subject. Now, healthcare is in the news big time, and I must confess, I try and keep up, but it becomes so confusing, such mind-boggling numbers, so many divergent points of view that I'm a child at this stuff. But it seems to me now Obama is pressing, President Obama, I need to quit doing that, President Obama is, and his colleagues, his Democratic colleagues, have been saying, oh, there's all these problems in healthcare, and they're advocating government-run healthcare, more or less. Now, you saw the same thing. You address all the same problems, and you say the other, pretty much, is what you do. Can you succinctly explain it to the average American, such as myself?
Well, first of all, what I'd like to say, Matt, is that in our country, we have the best healthcare system when it comes down to the quality of life that we're able to afford from it and longevity of life. I mean, you look at some of the top diseases that affect the population in the world. I mean, we treat it the best in this country. I mean, that's why we have people come to this country for care that have cancer, that have heart disease, that have different types of scenarios that we have really excelled in. Now, what we have to understand is that from an economic perspective, we're spending 16% of our gross domestic product towards healthcare. Other countries are spending 10 and 12%, 8%. Now, granted, they don't have some of the quality features we have because they have a single-payer system or whatnot. But the point is that when it comes down to business, one of the things that we have to improve upon, because I'm not saying there isn't problems, okay? Let me tell you this. One of the things that a lady told me the other day, and I wish I had remembered her name because it was a classic, as we were talking about healthcare, what really related to her was that, well, that's just like if I have a leaky faucet in my house. I'm calling the plumber to fix the leak, not to tear out the plumbing. And that's how the healthcare system really is. I mean, we have some leaks that need to be fixed, man. There's no question about it. Tort reform needs to be fixed. I mean, we need some law that will fix that so that we can cap that so that it doesn't impact, negatively how doctors, physicians, healthcare providers practice in terms of defensive medicine. We have wellness and prevention, which I hit on big time, in my book, because why not try to work on the end that we can prevent through like early intervention before it gets to the disease state. Increasing access there is a certain amount of uninsured population that is out there, but it's not as big as what everybody thinks, because there's what I would call the can'ts and the won'ts. The folks that can't afford it, they make more than what Medicare will cover them, but they simply can't afford to pay for the premiums. Okay, they're the can'ts, but then you have the won'ts that make plenty of money, but they won't cover themselves because they're young and immortal.
I know one or two of those.
Yeah. And then you have your illegal aliens, that are out there. And so when it really boils down to it, we probably have anywhere from 6 to 8%, maybe up to 10% that are uninsured. And so that what we have to take a look at is, okay, targeting that group and not trying to change and gut out the whole system, because you think the problem is bigger than what it actually is. And so the point that I really want to leave is that there are strategies that can be employed that we can allow free enterprise to work the system and to create, those types of changes that'll be positive through innovation and creativity. I mean, we have to get our focus back on patient-centered relationships, the doctor-patient relationship. I practiced for 25 years, Matt. I took care of 5 generations within families. I mean, because you build a trust as a healthcare provider. When I would have somebody from that family come in, I knew a lot of their family history. I could make clinical decisions for that individual much faster because I had the experience with their family, and understood them, understood their lifestyle, all that. We lose that. We get a disconnect when we have government starting to intervene in that relationship. And we've had that through the managed care process already, and this would only be worse. And you're right, we could talk for a long time on this because you can tell that I get passionate about it. But we do need to reimburse healthcare providers for doing the things that we want them to do. Prevention, wellness, early intervention, teaching patients how to take care of themselves. It's going to be some behavior things that will need to change over time, but we can prevent some of those costs, because the bottom line is that we need to have a competitive advantage in this state for businesses to flourish, because we are in a world economy. We're in a global economy. We're not just competing with people across the interstate or across the state line. You know, we're competing with people across the world. And if we're not competitive in this state, we're going to lose. But the good news is that there's a lot of gold in them fields out there. We just have to know how to mine it and take advantage of it. And that's going to be through good strategy and good planning and strong leadership.
In the modern age, the soundbite mentality, we don't have time for in-depth discussions of anything. But we got a good soundbite here. There's gold in them our fields. When's the primary, Scott?
June 8th of next year.
Okay. If you like Scott Munsterman, former Mayor Scott Munsterman, register as a Republican, vote for him on June 8th of next year. If you like me, I still have t-shirts available. Email me, matt@hubbashouse.com. Mostly white ones. I've got a few black ones left. I am Hubba. My real name is Matthew J. Trask. Thank you, Scott.
Thanks, Matt.
And thanks for watching.